What's good, people? Welcome to the channel where we talk about music licensing, music production, and music business. If you love any of the previously mentioned, be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Shout out to everybody in the stream so far. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do. It's another live Q&A, so if you have questions about production, sync, or music business, make sure you drop them in the chat. I'm super excited today because I got another dope producer with us. Producer, songwriter, artist, just phenomenal, super talented. So excited to be able to chop it up with her. So I'm gonna just go ahead and bring her on. We're just gonna get this show started. Deli Rowe, what's good?
Hey Clint, how are you? I'm doing well.
I'm good. I appreciate you taking the time to come to the stream and just chop it up with us. How's everything been? I know you out there working and killing it. How's everything?
It's been amazing. It's been quite a journey, but definitely one that I'm happy to take. Busy, of course, now because I feel like I know we're about to really get into the nitty gritty of sync season, so
Yep.
it's about to be busy, which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know last week I started seeing a lot of briefs rolling in, so definitely ready to get back started. So man, like tell the people about you, like your background, how you got started in music, and just let them know, give them the backstory.
Absolutely. So I'm a church girl, so I grew up in church singing, of course, like a lot of us. That's really where my roots come from.
Dope.
From there, I went to Performing Arts High School, and that's where I learned how to use Logic Pro, and I learned how to record and write songs, and really understanding how songs are developed. Because at that same school, I had to, of course, take music theory. So with theory, you learn how melodies can flow or should flow and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then after graduating high school, I begged my dad for a MacBook. He got me one of those old white MacBooks. I don't know if y'all remember those.
The
But
iBook, I used to have
yeah,
one. Yep.
I had one of those, and that held me down. God, almost through college, but I ended up getting a nice refund check from those student loans or those grants, and I bought a brand new MacBook, and that kind of is what I use to really dive into production and really dive into how to use Logic, how to understand how things could flow, that kind of thing. After college, I did a couple of, artist things here and there, a lot of vocal production, a lot of vocal arranging for different people. And then I kind of left production for a little bit. And then I came back to it, I would say like 2015.
Okay.
So I was away from production for about 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, there's something in me that's missing. Like, I feel like I could be producing more. I could be writing more, but maybe I'm not finding the right producers to work with. Maybe I'll just hop in myself. So I just took it by the reins and ran from there. And let's see, 2015, 16, 17, I wanted to more so be an artist, but I wasn't really getting the traction I wanted as far as income. Being an indie, you pay for everything. Like,
Right.
There's no label. You are the label.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta find a way to make some money from my music. And that's how I stumbled across Sync. So I took maybe a year or two to kind of like understand the process. And then I got signed to my first first library, maybe 2018.
Wow.
Then I got my first placement in 2019. And for those that know, when you get into sync, the first one is the hardest one to get.
Yeah, it is.
But once you get that one, it starts rolling. So the past, I would say, year, I've hit like 30 in a year. And I've already got 10 this year so far. So it's been a great journey. And I can see it just continue to go higher and higher.
Yeah. That's super dope. Congrats on your success. I mean, I think that's super dope that, you kind of found that lane in sync and just found other ways to kind of create revenue with your music as an artist. And I think anybody who can like produce their own music and create the songs and mix and all of that stuff, I feel like you're just super valuable in the sync space because you're able to turn stuff around really, really quick. So that's dope. What was the first placement?
The first placement was Black Ink Crew.
Dope.
I think it was Black Ink Crew Chicago, but it was like an instrumental. And the first vocal one was Black Ink Crew again, but it was Compton, and that was like a long one, like almost 30 seconds. I was like, oh, wait a minute, okay,
Yeah.
maybe that's what we want. So I focus more on vocal stuff
Okay.
because that's really like where a lot of my placements have been really kind of building up, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been paying attention to more, more vocal type songs that these shows want, especially with all of the video content that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
They want like a lot of vocal stuff, so it's been really, really, really great to like find my niche.
Yeah.
And that's something I struggled with when I first came into sync, was trying to figure out what what fits for me. Like where can I really like have a foundation in this? Um and for me it was, adding my voice to the track. So yeah.
That's dope. That's super
Yeah.
dope. Man, so Dorian Hall, he has a question. Question is, can you break down how to structure a beat for sync
Yeah.
licensing sound wise? So how do you kind of approach it, especially with, you throwing vocals on there?
Honestly, I listen to a lot of, I would tell you this, as far as picking your sounds, I would say pay attention to what's on the top 40. So whatever is hot right now.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of sync want hot, they ride whatever's hot right now. As far as structuring my tracks, I keep mine within like 90 seconds.
Okay.
So I have a quick intro, maybe 8 to 10 seconds. Then I try to get straight to the hook
Okay.
when I have vocals. So I have the bulk of the hook there, but I'm still like layering it. So every 8 bars, I'm changing something.
Gotcha.
I might not bring the 808 in until later. Well, now it's different because a lot of the top 40 stuff is very 808 heavy. But every 8 bars, I'm changing something. I'll have a switch up in there, and then that switch up, I'll have my verse, I guess, give or take. And then I'll go back to my hook and really make it big, and then of course end it with this thing.
Got you. Super dope.
Yeah,
I like that approach. That it makes sense with the vocals
yeah,
and the hook being like the main part with
yeah,
starting the hook. So that's dope. I love to hear different perspectives because I always tell people like there's no like one like single way to structure everything. It's just like everything, even if you structure it a little bit different, everything is still going to have these same elements. It's going to have a
yeah,
short intro, right? It's going to change or do something different every 8 bars. It's going to have a sting ending. And those are kind of like the most important things.
yeah.
Um, she Makes Fire says, which library or libraries have been the best to work with?
Ooh, that is a tricky question to answer, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I've been a part of different ones for different genres. So now I only really work with two strong libraries, and I'm starting to work with sync agents, and that's a whole nother like lane.
Okay.
Um, I always tell people to start off with like the song traders, start with those ones to kind of understand what is coming at you as far as sync is concerned. Some other ones you could try is Sync Free Music. My guy Eric, he's a great guy over there. I do a lot of reggaeton stuff for him over there.
Okay.
Um, Crucial Music, Jingle
Mm-hmm.
Punks is always a big one. They're a
Yeah.
really, really big one. Alarm 5, Element 5 is another good one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Those are, I think there's another one that someone just told me about called Tune Edge. I'm not sure if you heard of that, Clint, but
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I signed up with them like maybe like a few months ago. But yeah,
okay.
they've been throwing out some good briefs too.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. I would say start there. And another thing I'm always doing, I'm always on IMDb looking at like who's a supervisor for certain shows and certain movies.
yeah,
Um, I don't know, how far into She Makes Fire you are into your sync journey, but you should always be looking for the sync, like the supervisor. Like find out who that is, find out how to connect with them. How do they like to take their music? What libraries they want you to be a part of for the shows that they work with. So definitely use IMDb to do your research.
super dope. So you mentioned kind of working with sync agents. Like, have you found that being more beneficial than libraries with you doing full songs?
It depends. I haven't landed one with a sync agent yet, but
Okay,
I would tell you that those opportunities come in to me a lot quicker than libraries, but they
got you.
also have quick turnarounds.
Okay.
So you got to be ready with them. Like they're always looking for ways to shop your catalog. And
Mm-hmm.
the way I work with them is I just send them albums. So like I'll send them like 7 to 10 tracks
Right.
of whatever may be, and then just constantly send them albums. That way they can kind of like work around it. I got super duper duper close with one of my sync agent friends with the Breonna Taylor documentary, but they ended up going with another song in the place that I had that record. But it's good to know that you're still on the right path. So I don't think it'll be too long. Hopefully.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think somebody asked me too about sync agents. So is the deal structure similar to a library? Like, are they taking like the publishing half of royalties, or do they just take like a percentage, just kind of their fee, and then you kind of keep the rest?
It's the latter. They take a fee. So
Okay.
some of them do 70. Most of them do 70/30.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen anything greater than that as far as like 50/50, which mainly how the libraries work. But they work mainly more for upfront money too.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people don't know that. Like I like the libraries for back end stuff, and I get some upfront stuff from some libraries too. But back end like stuff that's passively coming, I prefer libraries for that because it's just like I can make some tracks, send them to them, forget about them, go to the next thing.
Yep.
Whereas with sync agents, I have to be a little bit more strategic with what I'm sending. So that's another, idea to think about how you structure your music and the quality of stuff that you're sending for each side.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's not bad. 70/30 is not bad.
Right.
So dope. C Keys, what's up, C Keys? He says,
Hey.
can you share what steps you took approaching your first placement, and how long did it take to get a response?
Woo, the first one takes some months. I'm not even gonna lie. It take a minute. Like
Yeah.
it's hard. Like it's not quick. But I will tell you this: like once I got the first one, I haven't missed an ASCAP quarter. Like I haven't not had a royalty payment.
Yeah.
I think the reason it takes so long the first time is because you're trying to understand the business. You're trying to understand how they like their music, what versions they want, what structures, what structure should your tracks take.
Yeah.
I would say I signed with a couple of libraries. It said 2018, and I just kept submitting. Like,
so that was my bad.
Yeah.
So
no, you're good.
That was like your first. That was like your trying to get in the sync. Your first approach was to go to the libraries.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Go to the libraries first, understand it, how the business works.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't know, especially a lot of producers, like the sync game is completely different than artist placements. So I understand why a lot of producers may not necessarily want to go the sync way because it's different. It's a lot more work up front. Like it really is.
It is.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of people, they want to take like their existing catalog and then just send it and be like, and just place it. Like, here you go, here's my music, place it without knowing the structure. One thing that I know kind of discourages a lot of producers when they find out the stems that you have to create. So you may have to create 5-6 different versions of that one track versus working with the artist. You just send the WAV file, and then once it actually gets placed, you're just sending individual stems, and then you're done. But I agree. There's a lot of upfront work, and it's a lot of waiting without knowing if it's working or not. It's like you said, like even after you sign with the library, like I know for me it was months before I even knew stuff was getting placed. Then it took even longer to get the royalty check, but again, once it starts, like it's hard to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true. Everything you said is spot on. Like you're constantly getting hit with it. And I don't know if you've been over this on your show yet, but I don't know if people know that like it takes like 6 months to 9 months, maybe a year before you start seeing some cue sheets pop in.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is definitely the long-term game. And if if you're ready for that, then this is great for you. But I think every producer should do sync. Like every writer should do sync. That's just my opinion. Just always diversify the ways you can make money with your music.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Produced by Self says, what's the best website to display your beats? Is it better to have your own, like via Wix, etc., or use Airbit or another option? And he means specifically people choosing music for ads or TV and stuff.
So there's a new site It's not really new, but it is newer than those ones you mentioned called disco. And
Yes.
disco was created for, I think it was created by supervisors, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so.
yeah, they created it specifically for you to like showcase your music. So I would check them out. I think it's disco.ac.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can get you can get a free account and then a smaller one for maybe like $10 a month. I would use that. SoundCloud is what I used when I first started off. I would just like upload my tracks to like a private playlist
Okay.
that I had on one of my, accounts, and then just send that out to supervisors. But definitely don't send attachments because you don't want to clog anybody's account up.
Yeah.
But those would be my two, either Disco or SoundCloud.
Dope, dope. DJ
Yeah.
Maniac wants to know who inspired you to get into music. Who's your favorite producer?
I have a few. I mean, me being from Virginia, of course, I liked the squad. So you got Timbaland, Neptune's Missy, of course.
Yeah.
Jay Dilla, of course. Quincy, if we want to go classic. Um, I would say those are like my main ones. Like
That's
I
dope.
don't care anybody else. Yeah,
I
those
feel
ones
like
for sure.
a lot of talent comes out of Virginia. Y'all got something in
Yeah,
the water over there.
we have to, but you know what? We don't have a lot here, so we gotta like go in.
Yeah.
you know, it's not like if it would be different if this was like New York, if we were in Atlanta,
Right.
LA. But we don't have a lot. We gotta go in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I feel you. I feel like a lot of cities, because where I'm from, like I'm from Toledo, Ohio. Like
oh wow,
there's
yeah.
no like music scene there, so it's just
Mhm.
like, and we got a mad time on our hands because there ain't nothing to do in that joint. So it's like you ain't got nothing to do but to be
Right.
great at what you do.
That's
Um,
it.
yeah. Alvin Alexander, what's good, bro? Alvin says, how did you make it while waiting to get your first sync? Did you work at 9 to 5 or music gigs? What was that process like?
Both. I still do both.
Yeah.
I still, I have a goal in mind of what I want to do with my sync money.
Mm-hmm.
But I still do both.
Yeah.
I definitely always recommend people, always don't ever put all your eggs in one basket. Have a diversification of what you do.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would definitely tell you to do that. And with this being 2022, there's ways you can make money on the internet. Even outside of sync. So yeah,
Yep. Indeed. Multiple streams for sure.
absolutely.
Um, C Keys got another one. What expansion library of sounds would you suggest to use? What are some of your favorite plugins,
Yeah.
VSTs?
I think I commented on one of Clint's posts about this. When it comes to drums and stuff, I like to get like one shot drums from Splice. I like to
Okay.
get risers and effects, but I don't fool with any melody loops. I don't even fool with vocal chops. I don't fool with none of that.
Yeah.
Just because it gets tricky. But as far as expansion libraries, I love like all of the Spectrasonic products. So Omnisphere, Keyscape, Trillion, especially Trillion. That's my new favorite.
Yeah.
And then Native Instrument. Well, Contact has the Electro Guitarist Deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Sunburst. That
Yeah.
one is great because you hear a lot of, well, nowadays, especially in R&B, you hear a lot of guitar.
Yeah.
So those are my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just produced a track with the Sunburst Electric. Like that, it's one of the most realistic sounding
Oh my
guitars
gosh.
that
Yeah.
you can get. Yeah,
Yeah.
that joint sounds dope.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. C Keys, if you mix and master, what strategies do you use? Do you mix and master all of your stuff?
I do, and I keep it really simple. Like for sync, for me, honestly, I don't do full mixes because I just don't have the time. Like sometimes when you're knocking out like 10 tracks or however many, you
Mm-hmm.
really don't have the time to sit there and do a full mix. So
Yeah.
I just like to level things out. My vocals, I have a couple of templates that I hit those with.
Okay.
So I kind of do that as I go. But then I just kind of level things out, make sure nothing's like distorting, make sure everything's hitting the way I need it to hit. And then I use a limiter, a clipper, and I have ozone. Ozone is
Okay.
my favorite.
Dope.
Yeah. Those normally what I put on the master.
So super simple. So if they hit you
Yeah.
back with like edits and stuff, like you can turn it around super quick because
Mhm.
your
Yeah,
setup
because
super
it's
simple.
necessary. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Yep.
That's how it is. Yeah.
Indeed. Tracy Brown, what's good? Good to see you back in the stream. Tracy said, how do you structure your beat when they ask for a 30-second reduced version? Same build with the sting, or how do you decide what to take out or what to leave in? That's a good question.
That's a good question. So typically what I do for 30 seconds, I use the last 16 bars and the sting. That's normally what hits for 30 seconds. If they ask for 15, just the last 8 bars and the sting.
Dope.
I don't take anything out unless I have to or they request it. But normally the last 16 and the sting should hit like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Should. Yeah.
Dope. Cole Beat says Ozone is my best friend. I love it. Yeah.
I love it too. It's great.
Makes life easy.
Yeah.
So that's dope. So since that first Black Ink Crew placement, now you've got credits on Bravo, E, Big Ten, NFL, MLB, Netflix. Like it's amazing how like once the snowball starts, like it just starts to grow. And then it just gets to a point where you just start losing track of of placements. But what's been one of your favorite or most memorable TV placements?
I would have to say $1 Million Listing, LA. Okay.
Dope.
That was last year because I got that call like directly from the publisher. And they were like, we need vocal tracks, just you, everything. Like, can you do it in a week? And I was like, okay, all right. I didn't know what to expect. They sent me a couple of references. And so I leaned on some of the references, but I also went back and watched their last seasons just to kind of hear what they've been playing.
That's smart.
And so I gave them a mixture of both, and they loved everything. And that was like my first opportunity that came with upfront money. And so that one like made me feel good because it's like, wow, I can really do this. Like this is a real thing. So I have to say $1 Million List to LA.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I've had music on that show too. It's so dope because like everybody that we kind of meet in this sync space, like I'm sure we probably like all on the same shows.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
That's fire. So man, so they gave you had like a week turnaround. How many songs were you able to knock out in that week?
I ended up knocking out 7 for them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of like sleepless nights, but I made it.
Yeah. That's what's up. Was that like one of your shorter deadlines, or have you had deadlines that were even shorter? Like what's one of the shortest deadlines you've had?
One of the shortest deadlines I had was a day. It was a show, I think it was called Good Dad. I can't remember, but it was a show on ABC, and they were like, hey, we need it like tomorrow. Can you do it? And I was literally like out somewhere, like not even at home.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And so I ran home and tried to put something together and uploaded it. And yeah, that one worked out too. But these deadlines in sync are no joke. So I'm just telling y'all, be prepared. Because when they come, they're coming.
Yeah, that's a fact. I know it's funny because I'm sure like on their end, they're hearing, oh yeah, that's no problem. And then meanwhile, we're over here like panicking, trying to figure out exactly how we're going to do it. Because you don't want to say no to an opportunity, right? But you end up figuring out how to get it done. For the new people in the stream, man, I have Deli Rowe, producer, songwriter, artist, and she's killing it in the sync space. So we're doing a live Q&A. If you have questions, make sure you drop the questions in the chat. We just hanging out and talking about production and sync and all these super quick deadlines that we knocking out. So yeah. So man, so like what's a goal I guess you have in the space? Is it like a certain type of placement you want to land, or you want to go for a theme song one day? Like what's some goals you have?
I have 3. So 1 is definitely a theme song. 2, I want a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I gotta get a Super Bowl commercial. And then 3, I want to eventually like animate or compose for like a children's show.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, I just don't know, what that's gonna look like, but I think Baby Shark kind of inspired me.
Yeah,
because that took over the world. So
it did.
Those are my 3 biggest ones right now.
Yeah, that's super huge. Yeah, I feel like children's music is just, it's so massive. Like I watch my son sometimes, and like bro, like he's running up these YouTube shorts, like, cause he just watches it over and over. If it's funny, he just keep watching. I'm like, man, somebody getting paid nice off this guy. But I think it's a dope space. I think it's a dope space to be in for sure.
Yeah. I wonder, like, I'm still trying to research how that works, or like who are the main like composers that are really like killing it in that game.
Yeah.
Because that's definitely a lane I feel like is open for us to get to it. But children's music is a whole different sound. You got to understand what connects kids.
Yep.
So yeah.
Indeed. Already with a question. So from what you both advise, out loops, we should be wary of using arcade type stuff.
Like output, I think is what he's asking.
Oh, yeah. Because they make arcade, right?
Yeah.
I think I used arcade maybe once, but like I was able to kind of play what I wanted to play within arcade. I don't know. Do you use it at all for sync stuff?
I just downloaded it, so I haven't touched it yet. But from what I've seen, I would do the same thing that you said. Just kind of manipulate it a little bit. But I don't know enough about it yet to really kind of answer.
Yeah,
I know there's vocal stuff in there too, I think. So if there's vocal stuff in there, I think the chops of that might be okay. Gotcha. But I don't know 100%. Yeah.
She makes fire. Notice the chaotic eyeball in the background. Is that what you use for vocals, or are you using a booth as well?
No, I use that. I have a Bluebird and a Rode NT1, and I just interchange them depending on the sound I'm going for, and put that on there and roll. Yeah.
Dope. That gets the job done. So listen, like I love the fact I love putting a spotlight on dope producers and also women in our industry who are doing their thing, because I feel like you don't get a lot of shine in our industry because it's a male dominated industry. Like, have you ran into like any challenges of that, and just being a woman in this industry? Have you found it more challenging? Have you found it easier? Like, what's been your experience in working in the music industry, in sync or whatever, as a woman?
In sync, it's been like open arms welcome. Like everybody's like, oh my God, send me whatever you got.
Yeah.
And part of that is because a lot of the shows that we're seeing now, they have a lot more female leads, like female main characters. Yeah. So a lot of shows, they want more women music. Wow. And I always try to encourage like a lot of girls that I know that are trying to get into production, sync, anything, like, please try for sync. Please do it, because they want what we have. And most women that I know that produce or write, they also sing or rap or something. So you could, put it all together right then and there and, submit. Yeah. As far as the actual industry, that's been interesting to say the least. I mean, from back in the day of my artist days, it's always been kind of tricky dealing with men in the studio. Not everybody, of course, but you do have, a couple bad apples that kind of make you kind of look at things differently. Yeah. But I will say, because I've been getting more sync placements, it's allowed me to be respected more in the industry. So that's been a blessing, because that's opened up more opportunities now for me to produce for artists or write for artists. Whereas when I first was trying to start off doing that, it was a little bit more challenging to connect with people, because they don't know who you are. They don't know what you've done. Yeah. But, when you're getting placements on TV shows all the time, now it's like, okay, maybe I need to pay attention a little bit more.
Yep.
But I know everybody's story is different, but for me, sync has kind of opened that door for me to be able to kind of walk in rooms that I may not have been able to get into before.
Facts. Yep. It's been the exact same way for me. And it's interesting because you can, I know a lot of producers starting out, our goal is to get to the big artists and things like that. But then, you take the sync route, and then you find all those doors that you were trying to knock down earlier, like it circles back around, and now it's like 10 times easier to get in them, because now you're connected with these big networks, these big brands and things like that. So that's super dope. I love it.
100%.
We got a question from Shirlita. Says, how do you dissect a reference track, key, sound, elements, progressions, melody, and not plagiarize?
That's a good question. That's a
Yeah.
really good question. So I'm gonna be honest. Like I've had some tracks that have been rejected because it was a little too close. Even
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
But um, what I do is I listen to the track a couple times. I listen to the type of instruments that they're using. So if they're using a cowbell, they're using a certain type of synth, if they're using piano, I listen to that. I make notes on my phone or my computer of everything that I'm hearing. I always try to capture whatever the BPM is, and I just try to create whatever I'm creating within the same BPM range. So if a track is 150, I might say, okay, I'll make this 145 or 147, so that it's kind of close but not the same. As far as melodies and things like that, I try to shy away from whatever the original key was, but I still use the same elements to give it
Yeah.
the same vibe. It just takes a little bit of like crafting, but it can be done. Most of the time, what I've learned is that when they're asking for certain tracks that are, or they say, when they sing you a reference track, they really just want that vibe.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be that same style, that same, step by step, the same way that track is made, but they just want that same vibe. Like one of my tracks that was placed, actually my first track that was placed on Black Ink Crew, they sent me J. Cole Middle Child, and that track has a lot of like brass heavy stuff.
Okay.
So I was able to kind of like manipulate that, use the brass, but also add like piano elements in there to give it that same vibe, and it worked.
Yeah.
It's just about creating the same vibe without going too far to the left.
Yeah, yeah. That's great advice. Cuz that's happened to me before. Like
Yeah.
it was a the reference was a popular song, and the song has a very distinctive progression in it at the end, the way it resolves, and I hit the same, I hit like a similar chord, even though I changed the progression leading up to that, and they still was just like, yo, it's too close, can you change it?
Yeah.
You know, so
You hate it because it's like, dang, like I thought I did it, but
right. Did it in a different key and everything, but
yeah.
it felt too similar. But I get it, because if it's, like these major labels, it just seems like they're just waiting to sue somebody for some
I
type of
know.
similar sounding thing. But yeah, I mean, they're just trying to stay away from any headache, so I get it.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
C Keys wants to know, when your track is selected, what do you upload? The WAV file, the MIDI file? What does that look like?
I always do waves. It also depends on the library. Let me not all say that, because some of the sync agents, they ask for MP3s.
Okay.
It just depends, but I don't ever release in MIDI. It's either wave or MP3, and then depending on the library and how, I guess, their situation set up, they may want you to do 16-bit over 24. It just depends on how they have their software set up.
Got you. Dope,
Yeah.
dope. That's what's up. So when you first started, like with you being an artist, did you start off submitting full songs, or just instrumentals, or like albums?
Mhm.
Like what was that like for you, just getting started?
I started doing instrumentals first because
Okay.
I didn't understand like the vocal stylings or what was needed for sync. Like I was still trying to understand that.
Okay.
Like I had to understand, like, do they want clean lyrics? Do they want this type of lyric? What can you say? What can't you say?
Mm-hmm.
So I just did instrumentals first, and then after like receiving more briefs from different libraries and kind of listening to what they were asking for,
Yeah.
then I felt more comfortable like hopping in that. Like, I don't know if some people know, but when it comes to adding vocals, like it doesn't always have to be a full song. Sometimes you can just add a hook,
Mm.
and that works. Because it just depends on the show. It depends on what you have going on, and I think even some producers who are doing just instrumentals, I think you should have a couple of tracks where you have vocals in there, even if it's just a hook,
Yeah.
even if it's just you rapping or whatever. Always diversify that, because a lot of my tracks that have vocals on it, they get paid. Well, not say paid, but they get played either more frequently
Mm-hmm.
or they get played longer.
Wow.
So for some people that don't know, the longer things are played or the more frequent things are used, of course, that's more income that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about too. Um, for those that are, looking to get in, I would add some vocals in there.
That's dope. That's a good point. So
Yeah,
speaking of lyrics and vocals, like what does work and what doesn't work from your
that's a
experience?
good question. As far as themes, I actually wrote some stuff down. Anything about confidence, anything about winning, anything about overcoming, general stuff, love, um, a lot of stuff about going. Let me see, 'cause I got some ideas here that I did write down.
Dope.
Different topics that work. It also depends on. Let's see. Yeah, some topics that may work are coming together, changing, something that's brand new, starting over,
Mm-hmm.
starting on your own, coming back home. Anything like that works. But definitely being the best,
Mm-hmm.
the confident thing, anything like that works.
Yeah.
I have one of the tracks I got placed for $1 million listing. I mean, the song was called Top Floor.
Okay.
And it works with that track, works with that show because they're showing homes, and some of the homes have elevators and things like that.
Gotcha.
So it plays on the show, but it's also saying that I'm on the top floor, I'm at the top, y'all trying to get where I am.
Yeah.
So playing with things like that typically can get you those sound and solid placements.
Nice. And then
Yeah.
are you doing slow stuff, mid tempo, up tempo? What do you find works best with that?
It depends. So I found that up tempo and mid tempo works well. And when I say mid tempo, I'm thinking like think Drake's latest album, like the Certified Lover Boy album.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tracks on there are kind of mid tempo. So anything in that vein works.
Okay.
Definitely up tempo because a lot of vocal tracks that you're going to see placed, they're going to be in between transitions
Yeah.
or in between like the break of a commercial back to the show. So a lot of times they want to come in with a lot of energy, like, okay, we're back. So up tempo, mid tempo works best.
That's super dope. Do you
Mhm.
do you like upload your music to streaming platforms as well, especially since you're doing like songs?
You know what? That's something somebody asked me a while ago, and I was like, maybe I need to start doing that, but I haven't.
Okay.
But I think that would be a good thing to do too, because I do know a couple of people that I've recently connected with that are they're getting more commercials, and so like I'm trying to learn a lot from them. They say
Mm-hmm.
that that's what they do. Like they'll upload maybe like a 5-track EP of songs that they got placed and put it on Spotify because people are looking for, who the person is or whose song this is.
Yeah.
So that might be an idea. I might have to start doing that.
Yeah, indeed. Because I know, like, I was watching the show the other day, and it was what was the name? Love Is Blind. They
Mhm.
had some dope music, like some dope records on that joint, and I was like, I ended up shazamming a couple of them. But yeah, I was curious because I know some libraries and some publishers sometimes they do that on their own and kind of add music to playlists, but other ones, they kind of let you do your own thing and let you upload it if you want, and then you just kind of, collect from directly from the distributor or whatever.
Yeah, and some libraries can be kind of tricky with that too, as far as what you can upload from what's being placed.
Hmm.
So you just gotta, read through your contracts or ask questions also.
Dope, dope. Shout out to Mom on the Beats. I see you.
Hey.
BKR Beats says once your track is placed, must you remove them from streaming platforms? Depends on deal, maybe. Yeah, I guess it kind of depends.
Probably depends on the deal. Um, some supervisors like to, hey, mom on the beat. Some supervisors they like looking for new artists, so sometimes they'll find your track on the streaming platform and
Hmm.
then ask us to license it. Um, I wouldn't shy away from removing it though, unless that's just what has to be done
Hmm.
contractually. But I wouldn't shy away from that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dope, dope, dope. So shout out to the new people in the stream. Drop your
Yeah.
questions in the chat. We're chopping it up with Deli Rowe, producer, songwriter, artist whose music has been heard on Bravo, E, Big Ten, NFL, MLB, Netflix, Roku, Lifetime. Listen, a lot of networks. Okay, she's
Yeah,
working.
a lot of them. Definitely so.
Indeed. What I guess what are some recent projects or briefs that you've been working on?
So the recent ones I've seen a lot of March Madness stuff coming in. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of I've gotten a couple love and hip hop placements have been popping up.
Okay.
Um, a lot of the reality shows that's on TV right now. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen a lot of Afrobeat stuff come in, like briefs,
Okay. Dope.
which is
Dope.
kind of telling me they're getting ready for summertime.
Yep. Yep.
I've seen a lot of trying to look through my email here. I've seen a couple of commercials come through.
Mm.
As far as like products, I've seen. Let's see what else we got coming through here. I've seen a few on like reggaeton coming in. Of course, like the typical ones we always see, like hip hop, trap, of course,
Yeah.
orchestral hip hop, all of those kind of things come through.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I tend to see more Christmassy type stuff when we get to the fall, maybe like September, October, when you start to see those things.
Yeah.
I always tell people just work on Christmas stuff in like August and just upload it and forget
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And if a lot of people don't know, you can always pull from public domain Christmas songs and
Yep.
just recreate them. And sometimes you can make them one time and you don't have to do them again, like
Yeah.
ever. I think I redid Jingle Bells. I think it was either Jingle Bells or Deck the Halls, and they got used for like a bunch of like NCAA games on Christmas. So
Wow.
like
That's dope.
games, so make it one time and keep it moving.
Yep.
But a lot of up tempo stuff I've been seeing, like reggaeton and Afrobeat and those kind of things, because they're really kind of infiltrating a lot of the top 40 mainstream music now. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's I tell a lot of people that like if you want to know what's kind of current, it's just like look at the charts. A lot of times they're trying to find that vibe. Do you have like a favorite genre or genres that you like to create the
yeah,
most?
I like, of course, I like pop and like more hip hop type stuff.
Okay.
I want to get more into the Afrobeat stuff. Like I have some friends that have been sending me tracks to check out, and I need to listen to more of that,
Yeah.
just to challenge myself. And
Yeah.
I definitely want to play with reggaeton a little bit more, just to challenge myself.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I want to learn about like trailer music and like getting those big like Marvel trailers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I don't know what that looks like yet.
Yeah.
Um, but that's definitely a lane I definitely want to like learn as much as I can about.
Indeed. Super
Yeah.
dope. BKR Beat says, is there an organizational tool to help you keep track of all submitted music and place tracks, or just a simple spreadsheet? I imagine it getting hectic when working with multiple libraries. That's true.
Yeah, so as far as tracking the placements, I don't know if you mentioned this before, Clint, but TuneSat helps me kind of keep a record of what has been placed thus far.
Yeah.
And then I use Google Docs to kind of keep me aligned in where I've submitted what,
Yeah.
if that helps. So yeah, pretty much what he said, just having a spreadsheet.
Dope. Dope. And then Artie says, do most of your briefs come from the libraries, or do music supervisors contact you directly once you may be from a library, or once they know you're from a library or know you from a library placement?
So I've had briefs from both actually. So I've had some from libraries that you may get placements with, and then some supervisors that I've connected with independently. They may say, "Hey, do you have something like this? I need it like tomorrow."
Yeah.
It just depends. And then a lot of the sync agents that I've been working with, of course, they're working directly with these supervisors. So I've had people like call me, text me, and ask
Yeah.
for stuff.
Yeah.
So it just depends, but definitely a variety of places is where your opportunities can come from.
Indeed. One thing I like about sync is like it always it never feels like you're wasting time when you sit down to create, right? Like
Yeah,
either if they don't use it, it's another song or track in your catalog, but
yeah.
it's always for a purpose, right? Like usually they're hitting you up like, we need this for this, and it kind of, you constantly have that spark of inspiration and
Mhm.
I guess direction on what you're doing and what you're creating.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I've seen some other questions. Mom on the Beats. What are some good libraries to join? Yeah, we did. We mentioned that earlier in the stream.
I see your
Uh,
DM. I'll message her because I know her.
okay,
I'll shoot her.
dope, dope. Bet,
Another
bet.
place I find, I meant to mention this too, y'all. Another place I've been finding that has a lot of good information is Clubhouse.
Yes.
There are a lot of good rooms on sync and placements on Clubhouse, like, and they're legit. Like, they're not, sometimes you go to Clubhouse and everybody's just talking.
Right.
No, one of my favorite rooms is with Eric Campbell. I think it's called Control
Control
Camp.
Camp. Yeah,
Yeah,
fire, fire.
man, I love that group. So if you're on their Clubhouse, definitely check out his room. I think they go live every Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern
Yeah.
Standard Time.
Yep.
Man, a lot of good information in there, and he has a lot of supervisors that come on and talk and tell you like what they're looking for. I listened to one maybe a couple days ago, and they dissected like every single Super Bowl ad.
Mm-hmm.
That was really, really good.
Yeah.
Because some people don't know,
Yep.
but I mean, they break down a lot. And there's some other groups too, but I would definitely recommend that too if anybody's looking just for like up to date information. Definitely hop on Clubhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, a wealth of information. And I mean, it's like I feel like sync is one of those industries where you really I know there's like a lot that people don't know, but it's
Mhm.
also an industry where people will literally open up and like give you the keys and
Yes.
tell you exactly what they want. Like music supervisors, the music soups that they bring in control camp, they'll tell you
Yeah.
exactly how they want to receive music, how they want to be found,
Yeah.
all it like just everything. So the resources are
Mhm.
there, especially today. I mean, it's the information is definitely out there.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely pay attention to that. And if you are, I mean, you can reach out to supervisors directly. If you're new, I would just hold off just so you can understand the business first.
Yeah.
Another way I've been able to find connections is like looking at the credits of shows.
Okay.
So every show is different, but sometimes it'll run like it'll be on the screen like music provided by. It might be a library name or it might be the supervisor's name.
Yeah.
So that's another tool you guys can use to find places to send your music.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely a good
Yeah,
trick. She makes fires. Clubhouse its own website. Now, it's like an app. It's
yeah,
just like Instagram or anything. You just download it, create an account, and then they have these rooms, and you can just hop in a room and listen. It's audio only, and then you can just kind of listen, and then sometimes they bring you up to do Q&A and things like that. That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
Really good, really good.
Yeah. Um, Steven, what's good, bro? He said, "What's the biggest miss and you didn't get right and why?"
Biggest miss. I mean, biggest mistake
Yeah,
or
I think so. What it
biggest
what?
mistake.
Oh, go ahead.
Biggest mistake I made. I think at first not understanding that sync was a numbers game.
Mm,
You gotta have catalog.
yeah,
Um, I thought it was just like, oh, I'm just sending this one song in and they'll pick it out. No, like you gotta every week. Like I have a goal. Like I try to knock out at least everything else. At least like two to four tracks a week just to submit.
yeah,
But you gotta have numbers. And that's just me kind of doing this with having other responsibilities. But that was the biggest thing I didn't get. So when I got my first placement, it took a little while until I got my second one.
mm-hmm,
Because I didn't understand that I should have, kept submitting. So
yep,
now that I kind of understand the process, you see them more frequently. Um, that would be, yeah, my biggest one.
yeah. I agree. The law of averages. You know what I mean? The more
Mm,
you put out there, the higher chance you have of getting some positive returns. So
yeah.
definitely agree. Alvin Alexander says, yes or no to sign with the music supervisor for a monthly fee, which qualifies the composer producer to receive monthly briefs. I don't know any supervisor that charges a monthly fee
Yeah,
personally.
I was gonna say that don't sound right, but because they need the music. Like that's the thing. Like when you put in your mind, you understand. Like they need the music. Like in order for them to do their job, they need the music. So if they're charging you something, they just trying to like come up.
Yeah, because and music supervisors get like they get paid by the whoever they're music supervising for.
Yeah.
You know, that's just weird. You shouldn't have to pay to receive a brief. And if that's just to receive, like, yeah, that's a scam. Like just
No, don't do that.
libraries are free. Like you can I think you mentioned what 5 Elements or Element Music or something like that. Like all those libraries, 5 Alarm, like they're free. Like they want your music. They legit need it.
Yeah. And then another thing too, if you go on IMDb, Internet Movie Database, if you're looking up a certain show, and let's say you find a supervisor, a lot of times it's going to tell you right there what they're working on right now.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you don't even need a brief. You can just see, oh, like they're on the second season of P Valley right now. Oh, well, let me go listen to the old season because I know they're going to be looking for something in a couple months. Like
exactly,
you can do stuff like that to kind of get ahead of the game too.
Yep. And you mentioned this a few times, just going watch the show and listen to it and see. Like that's the easiest thing you can do. Like if you want to work in a space, whether it's TV, trailers, video games, like go dive and just obsess and listen to what's being used, because it'll, again, the clues are there, you know what I mean? You just got to know where to look and listen.
100%.
So yeah. Antoine, brother, some of the rooms on Clubhouse do listening sessions too. You just got to catch them when they're happening. Indeed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys have any other questions, drop them in the chat. We got about 5 more minutes, so we'll take a couple more questions. Won't hold you too long, but this has been a super dope conversation. Just you know, just dropping the gems, and I love getting the perspective from a singer songwriter artist as well, that's in this space versus just the instrumental side of things. So it's super dope. And you're also Team Logic too. So is that the yeah, I love Logic. Has that been the only DAW you've been working in, or have you tried other DAWs?
I've tried Ableton.
Okay.
But I know some people love it. It just wasn't my thing. I tried Reason years ago, but I guess I don't know if they still make Reason, so I just kind of stuck with Logic.
Yeah.
And I have like some mentors of mine that are trying to get me on Pro Tools just for like actual recording, and I know I need to learn it, and I am. But
yeah.
I'm like, Lord, something else I got to learn, you know. But
it's always something.
But I think it's necessary because I know it's a standard. But yeah, Logic has never failed me. So
yeah, man, it definitely gets the job done. I think the first I guess professional DAW I used was Pro Tools. That was the first one I bought, and then let's see. Then I used Reason for a little bit, Reason and Pro Tools. And then I got introduced to Logic, and then I've been using like Logic and Pro Tools. Like if I'm recording vocals, then I usually I may switch over to Pro Tools. But just I don't know, for some reason the editing and the recording in Pro Tools, it works great for whatever reason.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, I love Logic. Reason is still around, but they're so behind, like in regards to just features. This is like they're adding stuff that every DAW has had like forever. So
wow, I didn't know that. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, so Antoine with the question, I feel like pitching hip hop is a big genre right now. Is genre bending necessary when you produce for hip hop, or is sticking to the radio format for the songs good enough?
Genre bending, I would say listening to a lot of the ads that were on the Super Bowl, there is a lot of genre bending.
Yeah.
But I feel like top 40, there's a lot of genre bending. Like everything is trap influence. Like even the country songs have trap drums.
Yeah.
So I think that's fine. As far as formatting your songs from the format of the radio, I would be just you're going to condense it just a little bit more. So a lot of songs on the radio, I mean, now they're getting shorter, but let's say 3 minutes. Yeah. You will chop that in half for sync. So you're going to get to stuff quicker in sync, and always keep movement. So like your risers, your your risers, your sweeps, You don't hear a lot of that in radio, but sync loves that stuff because it lets them know like we're about to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So add that stuff to your tracks. As far as like keeping stuff more trap based for sync, that's fine. Like they love hip hop, love trap. I think
Yeah.
most of the stuff we heard from the Super Bowl was hip hop based. I
Yeah.
mean, that probably has a lot to do with like Dr. Dre and stuff, but still, they want it. So yeah.
Yep. Indeed, indeed. So listen, Deli, this has been super dope. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm gonna let you get back to it, but tell the people where they can find you, where they can follow
Yeah,
you, all that good stuff.
absolutely. Instagram is probably the best way. So I'm at Deli Rowe. It's right here on the screen. That's probably the best way to connect with me there. I tend to like post up some tips and different places and stuff there.
Dope.
So definitely hit me on IG if you
In-
can for sure.
Indeed. Yeah, yeah. You always have like dope videos kind of breaking down your placement. So yeah, definitely check her out, people. Deli, I appreciate you taking the time to
Thank
chop
you
it up
so much.
with us. Indeed. Congrats on all the success and wishing
Thank
you
you.
much more. So, all right, y'all. We are out. If you haven't already, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Bye.